guys, how are you? Welcome back to my channel, Reimagining the Workplace. Wow, you guys, I feel like I haven't been here on this platform for ages. I have not been able to record episodes lately. I was doing a few other things here and there, but I'm here. How have you guys been? I hope you guys have watched my other episodes, the 10 episodes that are already out on reimagining the workplace, and that you found them interesting, and that you've shared them, that you've liked them. I haven't seen a lot of commenting. I don't know why, but I hope you will. I would really appreciate a few comments here and there. Tell me what you guys want to hear me talk about on this channel, because this channel is for you guys. It's for us, all of us. It's a channel that is really dedicated to bringing harmony in the workplace, where everyone feels valued, everyone feels like they are appreciated, that they are recognized, and that will bring about harmony generally at the workplace. That's what this channel is dedicated for. We'll have a segment called story time. I think it's important to tell our stories in the office, at the workplace, as an engineer, as a pilot, as an administrator like myself, as a nurse, as a crew, whatever kind of job that you do, as a mechanic, as a welder, as a teacher, all those things. I really want us to be able to tell our stories, because stories are good things. I know we've lost the culture of storytelling, especially with westernization, and our education system does not allow for that a lot. I believe that storytelling is a very important aspect of life. People learn a lot through storytelling. I want people to tell their stories of their workplaces, good stories, bad stories, and everything in between. I want us to learn from each other's stories. And when we tell stories, especially people who have gone through abuse at the workplace, when we tell the stories, it's a form of healing. It's like therapy. It can be the start for healing for all of us. So if you have any stories that you'd like to share on this channel, please contact us on the email address that we will put. We usually put on the description box on our videos. Just email us and find out, or just comment on the video and ask for the email address, and it will be given to you. And come and give us your story. We want to hear these stories. We want people to be encouraged by these stories. We want people to know and to understand that they are not going through these things by themselves. And especially toxic workplaces, experiences that we've had with working for toxic employers, because that's like something that is never talked about. And when people do, they do it in harsh tones. They don't really say it loud, and they don't confront. So we want to hear stories, and especially experiences that you've gone through, because telling experiences of what you're going through could be detrimental to your job, and you don't want to have people losing their jobs because of this channel. We want people to leave work when they want to leave work, or to to heal at work. This channel is actually mostly dedicated to helping people navigate through the workplace, the difficulties that come with the workplace. I'll go straight into my story. This is my experience with a toxic boss, and I have gone through a myriad of them. I'll be telling you these toxic experiences that I've gone through, huku in between episodes, has story times, as you also tell your own stories. So this is my experience, and even before I start talking about my experience, I'd like to clarify that this is my experience. This is what I went through, and you may differ in your opinion, and that's okay, that's allowed, but I'm just sharing my story. This is what I experienced, and it was toxic to me, and I hope it will be of impact to you if you listen to it with an open mind. Okay, this is what this channel is all about. Listening to these stories with an open mind. So I was working at this company, and I had worked for the company for a few years, and everything was okay, everything was working okay. We had a very wonderful relationship with my boss, and things were going okay until now this incident happens that I'm going almost narrating to you. A was a female boss. Whew. First of all, I hate it when people say that female bosses are the most toxic people that you can work with. It is true to some people. If you come across a toxic lady boss or woman boss, female boss, well, if they are toxic, they are really toxic. They are bad. They are bad. They are bad. But not all female bosses are toxic. I just want to clarify that. I hate that stereotype. I have friends who are bosses at their workplaces. I have led a team at a workplace or at several workplaces, and I do not believe that I was toxic. And if I was in any way and I didn't know, then I apologize. I apologize because it would be unfair to assume that I wasn't toxic when I was. Only the people that I was leading or I have led before at a workplace would really know or judge whether I was a toxic boss to them or not. Yeah, so let's scratch that stereotype. I hate it. I don't believe in it. It's not true, because I have had bosses, female bosses, who have been good to me, and I know of a few who are good. They're not toxic. Yeah, so let's finally go into the story. So everything was going on okay. I had worked for them for a few years until I got pregnant. So it's important to mention this because the story revolves around my pregnancy. So now one day, it was a Monday morning. I remember it was a Monday morning because every Monday we used to have what they called devotions or Monday meetings, to catch up, to plan the week, blah blah blah. So everyone was required to be in those meetings every Monday. So we we had our meeting, and when the meeting was over, and now everyone is rising to walk to their desk and, you know, start working, that boss, that lady boss, let's call her Miss Boss. Does that sound good? It's with all due respect, I promise. So Miss Boss comments, you know, everyone is now rising to walk to their desk and start working. And she comments, she says, "Hey, Mercy, nowadays you're fat." First of all, who tells a woman that you're fat? Who does? If you see a woman who is getting fat, just keep the comment to yourself. If you didn't know from before, now know that no woman wants to be told that they are fat. It doesn't matter who you are to them. Nobody wants to hear that. So you see, that's now already triggering enough. I'm thinking, why is she calling me fat? Mercy, you nowadays you're fat. But you see, me, I know why I'm gaining weight. I know it's because I am pregnant. And it was very, you know, early stages of pregnancy. My pregnancy really showed earlier than most women's. So I am triggered. Like I was like, what is that? Because now everyone has heard. It's not like she called me Kando and told me, Mercy, no. She said it out loud. So most people heard. Those who had not left the room heard what she said. So me, I went to my desk wondering, because I did not respond. I didn't talk to her. I just gave her a funny smile. Those ones of, so, yes, I'm fat, so. And really, I've never been a fat person, so I don't even know what she meant by that. Anyway, so I go at my desk, sit, and start working. So as I worked, one of my colleagues, a male colleague, comes and tells me that same day he had heard her comments. So he comes and tells me, Mercy, I have something that I would like to tell you, blah blah blah. Then he goes ahead and says, you know, Miss Boss, hey, I almost mentioned her name. You know, Miss Boss came to me last week and asked me if you are pregnant. You guys, a male colleague. What does that have to do with him? How are you going to a male colleague to ask them if I am pregnant? Are they my husband? Are they my boyfriend? Are they my anything apart from a workmate? Why are you going to ask an engineer? He was an engineer. Are you going to ask an engineer that we are not even friends? We were not even tight. For heaven's sake, ati anajua. But he was my friend. He wasn't a bad guy. He's a guy I would walk to lunch with, and I would be okay, you know, those kind of relationships in the office. So now I'm sitting with this information and I'm thinking about it. And listen, I was sickly. You guys know most women go through this crazy issues when they're the first trimester of their pregnancy. Most women, not all women. So I was sickly. I was constantly nauseated. I had constant headaches that were not going away. It didn't matter what I did, and then I didn't want to take painkillers because I didn't know what was harmful for the baby. I just did not want to take any medication without prescription. So I had constant headaches. Good thing I wasn't vomiting, but I was nauseated the whole time. Anyway, so I decided to go to the hospital. I think it was the second month of my pregnancy. I don't think it was 3 months yet. So I decided to go to a doctor to see what was going on with my body and see if there was anything that they could give me, the doctor could give me for as remedy to reduce those things that I was feeling. So now I go to the hospital. It was a pretty good hospital. And I'm sure people can be funny. I'm sure one of the reason I had problems with that is because I chose this hospital. And listen, there was a company policy that they were paying for our inpatient insurance cover, and for outpatient, everyone was supposed to go to the hospital, go to wherever, just come back and give us proof that you were treated. You went saw a doctor, you were treated. These are the receipts, so I need reimbursement for this amount. That was the company policy, and we used to do that even though the money was reimbursed almost never, but that's what used to happen. So so I go to see a doctor, get treated. I remember I went to worked, left the office at noon, went to the hospital, and it was quite a distance from the office. I got treated, and the following day I took the papers to her, like the documents to her, to show that I was treated and I need this amount of money for reimbursement. Listen, okay, there's a backstory. There's a story that you need to hear that made me go to her and not straight to the accountant. Like a month or two before, I don't know, I don't remember the exact time, I had an experience with her where a colleague, a newly employed colleague, got sick, went to the hospital, and when he came, because it was my responsibility to check those papers and then, confirm if they were genuine, if there was a way to confirm, and then send them to the accountant for the employee to be reimbursed. So when he brings the papers to me, I look at them and I advise him, like a good colleague. I advise him to expect a reimbursement, because that's what the company policy is. They reimburse. So I take the papers, confirm that they are okay, take them to the accountant. The accountant now, because he has to take the papers to Miss Boss to approve payment. She sees the papers and she's like, what? So she calls me. Innocent me. I am called to her office and she calls me. Why are you telling people that we have... Why are you telling people that we have free money to reimburse? Blah, 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 blah. Like, and she was this, when they say diarrhea mouth. Where she would say things to you and you wonder, how are those words coming from a human being? The things she's told me, oh my God. Anyway, so now she tells me, why are you telling people that there's free money here to be reimbursed? And me, I'm tongue-tied because I'm wondering, which people? It's just Nani. And I did everything that I always do when everyone goes for outpatient treatment. I haven't done anything wrong. So if the company policy has changed, you needed to have informed me way before, because you knew this guy was going to the hospital anyway. It wasn't, it's not, the company was not big such that when someone is out of absent, you wouldn't notice. You knew everyone who was at work and everyone who wasn't. So why are you now scolding me? So the reason I took the papers myself to her, it's because number one, because I cannot approve my documents, she needed to approve them for me, then approve a reimbursement, and have the accountant pay me. So and it was quite some amount of money. Like, it wasn't 3,000, it was a big bill. Because I went to a good hospital. That's where I wanted to go for prenatal clinics. So I give her the papers, and because I knew her, I still do. She was the kind of person who didn't want to see, the kind of employers who do not, they think you are in competition with people. Like, I cannot compete with my employer. That's why you employed me. You're way there, I'm here. Like, it's not rocket science. So why do you feel threatened by small things, like where I went for treatment? That's none of your problem. So she did not look at me. She didn't, the way when you go to someone's office, they will look at you, pay attention to what you're saying, ask, how am I help you, pay attention, and serve you. And if they can't serve you, say no politely. She didn't even raise her head to see me. So me, I left the papers somewhere besides her desk. I think she had been, waiting for me. The way Kenyans we say, alikuwa ameningojea. So now I go, I leave for, go sit at my desk and continue working. Where I had not even sat down. She shows up. I hear her walking towards me. So I sit down quickly, wondering, okay, what's going on? I was at your office a second ago. You did not bother about me. You did not pay attention to what I was saying, or anything that I was there for. Why are you following me? So I sit down, and she comes. So my desk is over here, and she's here. She's come like this, a corridor to my office, or to my desk, and I'm sitting there. So I had not stapled my documents together. They were just well arranged but not stapled together, because I wanted her to, take her time, look at them. So she throws them at me. I think I mentioned this in one of the previous episodes where we talked about abusive bosses. She threw them at me. So you see now, how she's standing, I am sitting down. So the papers are going over my head, over my face. They are falling all over. The receipts, the documents, everything. Remember, I am pregnant. So I am half sick, half well. I am shocked, panicking. I am sickly. I am nauseated. I am humiliated. I am feeling all sorts of feelings. So she threw them at me and said this. Oh my God, I was going to forget this. She threw them at me and said, who told you that we reimburse this kind of nonsense? You guys, my baby is nonsense. Because you see, now when I went to the hospital, that was like my first prenatal clinic. So of course she's like looked at it quickly and seen this is a prenatal clinic visit. Who told you that we drain bust this kind of nonsense? My baby is nonsense. My pregnancy is nonsense. Oh wow. I didn't say anything to her. Just collected my documents and she left like nothing had happened. So the accountant gave me my money and told me that I have been asked to ask you to not, actually this is the word that the phrase that he used. I was asked to give you this money and ask you not to ever involve us again in your pregnancy. How did I involve them? How? You see, one thing I will never understand. I have never understood, and I have never understood. I don't know if I will ever understand. Is why she had a problem with my pregnancy. I'm not your daughter. I'm not your sister. I'm not your nothing. I'm just your employee. And employees get pregnant, for your information, because they have a life outside of the office. Hello? So I did not understand. But because I have there's a way I know how to brush off things. If something is threatening to eat me up, there's a way. I think it's how I just cope with stress. I have a way of throwing it behind me. You know, those ones of, I don't care, I'm not going to think about you. Just get out of my way. So that's the attitude I gave her. I'm not going to give you attention. I have so many things to think about. I have a baby growing inside me, and I'm not going to lose my baby because of you. So get out of my way. So that's the attitude I carried on after that. And of course, she continued to do so many things that were uncalled for. For example, because now you see I've started my prenatal clinics. I would go for prenatal clinics in the morning, like I would ask for permission. I go for my clinic in the morning, like I would wake up like I'm going to work, go for my clinics, and then rush to the office. And because the hospital and the office were quite a distance apart, I would end up getting to the office at noon maybe, but I'll still do my work. I will work. I'll even work past. I will not even go for lunch break, and I will work past 5, to finish my work, to compensate when no one had asked me to do that anyway. So I do that, and a few visits, I don't know what happens. She calls me one afternoon after coming back now from the hospital, because I would just come back from the hospital and go straight to my desk and start working. So she calls me to her office and says, Mercy, now I think you're wasting a lot of time going for this and prenatal clinics. I'd like you to just be signing off leave. You see, I don't have a problem. If anything, going to work after a hospital visit was too much of a sacrifice for me. Remember, I'm still sickly. So I said, okay, no problem, because I had loads of leave days. So I say, it's okay, I'll be taking leave every time I have a prenatal clinic visit. So that's what happened all the way until I got a baby. But you see, that was in bad faith. Why are you asking me to take leave when every other person who has been pregnant goes to the hospital and comes to the office at about the same time and they still work. You've never asked them to take leave. You see, this mama had problems with my pregnancy, which I will never understand, by the way. Yeah, so that's my story. That's what happened to me. And because this Miss Boss was a super narcissist, she she was the first person to call me when I got my baby to congratulate me. For what? For what? Like, for what? After abusing me throughout my pregnancy, and now that the baby is here, by the grace of God, now we are friends, now we are buddies. Really? Anyway, so yeah, that's what happened. And I would like to mention a few things. I would like to mention a few things in relation to this story. I don't know if you were able to pick out the abusive areas or the abusive parts of the story and things that we shouldn't be going through at the workplace, especially as pregnant women. I feel like one day I should invite pregnant women who are working or women who have had babies, who had been pregnant, who have been pregnant while working, and share our experiences, because I feel like I had the most toxic and abusive experience while pregnant, and that was really bad. That was not fair. Yeah, so a few things that I we can pick out from this story that were abusive is the throwing of peppers on my face, and not even throwing. You can throw peppers at me, but saying the things that she said, we don't reimburse this kind of nonsense. She probably doesn't even remember because she was super narcissistic. You know, the kind of boss who will insult you or tell you things that cannot be put on paper, and then an hour later she'll come and try to tell you something smiling from here to here, thinking that you've forgotten everything else that she said an hour ago. She was that kind of a person. So that was abusive. Throwing peppers at me and saying the things that she said was abusive. Telling me that I've grown fat, that was abusive. That's not a language that you use on anyone. It doesn't matter whether it's your sister, your child, your whoever. Maybe most people, other people don't have a problem with being told they are fat anyway. Maybe that's my problem. But I know most people don't appreciate that. Keep it to yourself. Nobody needs to know. She could have just called me and asked me, instead of going to ask a male colleague, Mercy, I've noticed you have added weight. Are you expecting? Are you expectant? Are you... If it was in the first place important for her to know, listen, if I haven't told you something about me, imagine I don't want you to know. Chances are that I don't want you to know. So don't ask. It's none of your business. I had told the people that I knew needed to know that I was pregnant. They knew. So if I haven't told you, imagine jipe shughuli. Jipe shughuli haikuhusu, and I never even talked to her about it. Something else was gossiping me with a male colleague. That was super abusive. Not just the male colleague that she was asking whether I'm pregnant, as if he's my husband, but also the accountant who paid me the 26K. You know, my reimbursement. Why are you talking to men about my pregnancy? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Even the fact that she could not let me go for my prenatal clinics and come to work. She had to make them leave days. She had to make my prenatal clinic visits a big deal, that I needed to go on leave so that she can finish my leave days, which were many, so many. She wasn't going to finish them by 10 visits to the doctor. So now, anyway, my point is, let's pay attention. Let's start seeing these things. Pay attention. Look at the things that your bosses does to you. And if you're a boss somewhere, imagine leave people alone. Stop abusing people. Nobody made you a god. You're a boss of people because of God's grace. Things could have happened the other way around. You could have been the subordinate and then your boss. So the fact that you're a boss to them, to a group of people, doesn't make you a superior person, doesn't make you a better person. If you understand God's grace and that He's the one who puts us to places, we don't put ourselves there. Heck, we don't. If you understand that you didn't put yourself there, God put you there by His own grace. He chose you above these other people that you're leading. If we understand that, we will do better. We will lead people with respect, with decorum. We will recognize their efforts. We will treat them well. We will treat them better. We will be better bosses. So may God help us. Yeah, so that's my story time. I hope you guys are gonna come out and give us your stories. We want to know what is going on in these workplaces, because that's our work. This channel is about making the workplace a harmonious place, somewhere where people enjoy to work. And with those few or long or many remarks, I would like to end there. I want to thank you so much for taking your time and sitting with me and listening to my story. I am not the best storyteller, but I know you've understood what I was talking about and you've picked a lesson or two. And if you like this kind of content, please subscribe to this channel. Don't watch and just go. Watch and support me by subscribing to this channel, by sharing with someone who you think might be helped from this content. Like, comment, say whatever you want to say, as long as it's a positive comment. Even if it's a criticism, let it be put in a way that is lovely, because we cannot propagate hate anymore. We have to love people. And if you cannot say anything positive or criticize in a respectful way, please don't comment, don't say anything, just leave. Yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching. See you in the next episode. I love you so much. Bye bye.